You want to play hardball? I'm game.
You want to play hardball? I'm game. Right after I listen to this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitor fluxing. Crew to stations. Scanning for Liar Liar 1997. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome, Rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I'm your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz, and I'm joined by your XO and mine, Paul, the master interrupter lawyer Powers.
And I have something for you. It's the claw. Oh, you like the claw. You're scared of the claw. Oh.
Also, for this discussion of the film Liar Liar, we welcome aboard a major fan of pro wrestling, Batman, Power Rangers, and Pokemon. We choose you, Josh Adams. Welcome, Josh.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here. And now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Liar Liar?
Wow, we're to this part already. That was quick. Okay, sure. Liar Liar was released March 21st in 1997. So we're almost on an anniversary episode here.
Mm-hmm.
It runs an hour and 26 minutes and is rated PG-13. I was disappointed when the Imagine symbol came on. It was not directed by Ron Howard, but it was happened to be directed by Tom Shadyac.
Yeah.
Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
And he's the director that directed like Ace Ventura and I don't know if it's The Mask, but a lot of Jim Carrey, Bruce Almighty. He's done a lot of Jim Carrey movies.
So him and Jim know each other. Okay.
Apparently, yes.
It was written by Paul Guay and Stephen Mazur. Oh, well. Lead stars is Jim Carrey, Mara Tierney, and Amanda Donahoe. See, they don't have to be Asians for me to mess it up. And the music was composed by John Debney. Are you ready for the box office trivia game?
I am ready. Josh, are you ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Chat, are you ready? Right. Here we go.
Liar Liar was made for about $45 million. Really? Where did all that go?
I wonder.
Jim's pocket. And it went on to earn over $302 million at the box office worldwide.
Non-inflated. Wow.
So, given this and the fact that it was released theatrically in 1997, how high do you think it ranks among the top 100 movies of 1997?
Ooh.
Remember, this is a comedy.
Yeah, it is a comedy. Well. But 302 and 97. Josh, what's your guess?
I'm gonna guess 25.
25, strong. I assume Bobo guesses 42. Yes, of course he does. Let's see. Any other guesses?
For him last time.
In chat? Oh my goodness. Let's see. Alex guesses 4. Ashley guesses 24. Cellcast guesses 100. Really? That low? Wow. Okay. Let's see. Any other guesses? Star Fox guesses 20. D Tungsten says in the top 10. John says 7. So a lot across the board. I'm honestly gonna guess 5. I think it's really, really high up there.
Wow, so close, but John hit it right on the head. Number 7.
7? Congrats, wow. John. Wow, 7. That's so high for a comedy. Wow.
Yeah.
You see, I should get points because my guess adds up to 7.
There you go. 2 plus 5, 25.
Yeah.
That's what you meant. Oh, okay.
Of course. Yeah. It was numerology. I just wasn't reading the tea leaves. I get it. I think you're lying, Josh. Apropos, I see. Thank you for those factoids, Paul. And let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we'll get into once Alice has located our target film.
Alert. Approaching target. Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
Your wish came true.
You mean you have to tell the truth?
Fletcher Reed has to tell the truth.
What's your case?
Even if it kills him.
Your mother called. Are you still on vacation?
No.
Then you're here?
Yes. I can't lie!
Sure looks like you're having a rough morning.
Ding, ding, ding! What do we have for her, Johnny? Jim Carrey, Liar, Liar. Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, March 21st.
Oh my goodness. Well, that commercial definitely brings back some memories about Liar Liar, but to give you some context for the things we collectively remembered most before our rewatch, here's your memory mind meld synopsis for Liar Liar. Ace Ventura is a lawyer who lies about everything, and you can tell Jim Carrey loves his son even if he can't help but lie to him. That is until his son, who makes the most punchable face ever when teased about having a girlfriend, wishes that Ace can't lie for a whole day. All hijinks breaks loose as Fire Marshal Bill has to figure out how to tell the truth to everyone he lies to while beating himself up in the restroom. Truman shows that he that he can still win a big case by telling the truth, and all the kid wants is rollerblades. I mean, some of that was spot on, but some of it was decepted. Based on those memories, though, as somewhat flawed as they were, what rating did they lead you to predict for this film before rewatching it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Josh, what was your prediction for this film?
My prediction was classic.
Classic. Paul, how about you?
I predicted classic as well.
Oh, okay. For me, classic, of course. I remember fondly thinking of this movie, so definitely predicted classic.
Yeah, I was a little bit trepidatious predicting classic after last episodes of
Homeward Bound. Yeah,
I had
classic
high
there.
Expectations of that, and
they tanked.
Well, you can listen for that.
I mean, yeah, they were great. Totally met expectations, or did they? Am I lying right now? Who knows? Let's see. It'll be interesting to see if those predictions come true. But first, let's get into our discussion of the things we liked most about Liar Liar. Let's spin up our
Best three.
All right. So the top 3 things we liked, and let's start with our guest, Josh. What's something you enjoyed about Liar Liar?
Okay. Something I enjoyed about this movie is just how quotable it is.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many quotes that, like, especially right after you watch it, you're going to find yourself saying some of the stuff, like, the next week.
Oh, totally.
Because some of the stuff just sticks in your mind. And I don't know if it's the writing or just how well Jim Carrey delivered the lines, but
yeah.
Regardless.
Break children to your divorce, sympathy. It's working. Feel sorry for them already. Yeah, I've had better, says D. Tungsten. I've had better. Oh, gosh. Paul, the quotable lines was certainly a like for me. I'm curious if that made your like list as well.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Just because I already quoted it in my introduction, and I had totally forgotten that Carrie Elways was in this movie.
Really? You had? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was such a delight to see him again, and even though he's not like a swashbuckling hero or anything, but I just thought he added such a different dynamic that made the story more interesting.
Yes.
So it was good to see him again in this role.
It's too fast. We're moving too fast. Whatever it is, we can work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great counterpoint to Jim Carrey, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Talk about opposites.
Right? Totally. Oh, my goodness. So Carrie Elways was one of your other likes. Let's go back to you, Josh. What's something else you enjoyed about Liar Liar? And don't lie to me. Don't do it.
I'll try my best. I can't because my little cousin made a wish last night that I didn't lie.
Oh, well, perfect. Okay.
Wow, you are a terrible person for him to do that.
I know, right? The funny part is I've never even met him. It's crazy. One of my favorite things is that, through this experience of, going through all this, not being able to lie and all that, really made Fletcher realize how much he loves his son. And that he truly does care for him more than he likes his job or anything else. It made him realize that even though he's a compulsive liar and he knows that he lies all the time, and he may have thought that he was lying whenever he would say he cared about his son, the fact that he was still able to say it under the whole only being able to tell the truth made him realize, oh, wow, I actually do.
It has
telling-
heart there with the comedy,
Yeah.
which is not often found in films.
This truth stuff is kind of cool. But you know what? Mine is sort of dovetailed into that one, Josh, because I thought that the emotional pain that Max, played by a great child actor, except for his punchable faces, Justin Cooper. I thought he, excuse me, did such a good job of showing the emotional pain that he was having when he is disappointed. I was really taken with that. I'm like, wow, you're really giving it to me, kid. I could tell that you're. I don't know if this is
see the heartbreak.
Yes, exactly. I don't know if he's experienced this in real life. I hope not, but it was very palatable how or not palatable. That's the wrong word. It just tasted so good. How his pain. No, it was very
palpable.
Isn't that the way? Isn't that what I just said?
You said palatable.
Palpable. Oh no, you're right. Either way, whatever metaphor you want to use, insert here. I thought that was really great. The emotional.
That is so weird because that is also my second.
What the junk?
The kid actor Justin Cooper. I just thought I agree. But I was impressed by his range. Not only did he show great disappointment, but like when he gets really excited. And to me, when watching him, I feel like I believe like he is these things, like he's excited or he's disappointed. He's not like most kid actors that age. So I thought he was able to deliver that and ground the movie really well.
Absolutely. Now, but I mean, you guys gotta agree with me, right? When he says, or maybe call one of your when Jim Carrey says, you maybe call one of your girlfriends, and he goes like this. I'm like, get out of my face right now.
No, I don't support child abuse. Sorry.
I'm not saying you actually hit him, but the face he makes, it's so annoying.
Let's just say that if an adult made that face to me, I might want to hit them.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Josh. Thank you for agreeing with me in that regard. Because, man. But this is in the dislike section. We're just like blazing through so fast our likes that I gotta pad this a little bit. You know what, but guys, let's get to our classic makers. The things and maybe we'll spend a little bit more time here. The things we loved most about this film. Paul, why didn't you kick us off?
I'm not going to spend much time on this because it's Jim Carrey.
Dang it,
I just
me too.
love watching him, and I'm sure you guys might want to elaborate more on that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Josh, go ahead. Was Jim Carrey your classic maker or something else?
Yeah, my classic maker I have written down as exactly Jim Carrey's comedic brilliance.
Yes.
There you go.
He's so good at being able to perform perfect comedy even without speaking, just the facial expressions he makes. The physical comedy. And it led to one of my favorite lines when Max asks him after realizing he can't lie. He's like, if I make this face, will it stick that way? And he just goes like, no. In fact, some people make a living off that.
Yeah, which I'd never got.
It's just like a...
Well, yeah, it's sort of like it's talking about himself, which I never got until I read the IMDb trivia about that. I'm like, oh, that's what he means.
Come on, Francisco, it's right there.
Apparently, yeah, it's like I thought it was a deeper meaning, so I was like, what does it really mean? And so it's just surface level.
He's talking about himself, Jim Carrey, the guy who's playing Fletcher.
Oh my gosh,
it's breaking the fourth wall, which you sometimes like.
I do.
Don't.
I know. I always like it. I just don't like some movies, quote unquote, that surround the best moment of fourth wall breaking. We won't go there. That's like joke 7 years old. Did you have to bring it up? To expand on this, though, guys, I in particular, like Jim Carrey, yes, in particular for me was his facial comedy, just like all the like, and just I appreciate his ability to, and he does this in a lot of his movies, his control over his face to do the things that it does is just so remarkable, and it just definitely brings his comedic prowess up to another level that a lot of people don't have. I'd say
old rubber face.
Kind of, to me, one of the best scenes is the scene where he's first really testing out how much he's unable to lie with the pen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just the fact that he made it almost believable that his arm had a mind of its own.
Write it or break it off.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. And then that just turns on him. He's like, fine. It's just so believable. And I don't know how. I think he commits to it so much that it makes it work.
It almost makes you wonder if he actually hurt himself while beating himself up in the restroom.
Well, apparently what I read was they didn't have to Foley any of that. All the sound they were able to use because he was actually doing that. So that's impressive.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's nuts. Well, any other bonus likes any of us have that we want to comment on?
One that did almost make my list was Paul's first one with Carrie Elwes.
Carrie Elwes, yeah.
Elwes, yeah. Seeing him in anything is always awesome.
Yes.
Always a treat. Such a good actor.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, Paul's like, maybe.
I'll have more to say about that during our trivia time.
All right. Oh, well, trivia. Well, Paul, you know what? I would get to trivia, but there's one more thing I forgot I liked.
What? Really?
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
I would say no, but then I'd be lying.
Strangers and Aliens. This is Strangers and Aliens is a conversational podcast and blog that explores the relationship between God and man through the lens of speculative and imaginative fiction. Join Ben Avery, Dr. Jace O'Neill, and Steve McDonald, a trio of Christians who are both fans and creators of story, in their conversation about the intersection of faith and imagination. Find them at strangersandaliens.com.
Yeah, so what does that have to do with Liar Liar?
I don't know. I had to pick one of them, and I was just like, "Oh, I haven't done Strangers and Aliens for a while." How about this?
Liar.
A stranger, you don't know if they're lying to you or not because you don't know them very well.
Well, you need to work on discernment.
But what about the alien?
Yeah.
Well, because their body language
being truthful about being an alien, then.
Okay,
this is weird.
I
Let's just
fail,
go to
guys.
trivia.
Okay, I fail. Yes, I agree. Let's go to trivia. Okay, here's your trivia. And it's funny that you mentioned Carrie Elwes, Josh, because did you all realize that Carrie Elwes claims this, that people still come up to him all the time to do his version of the claw, the thing that Paul did at the beginning. It's the claw gonna get you. So my question to you guys is, what is your favorite non-Princess Bride Carrie Elwes role? And bonus points if it's also not Robin Hood Men in Tights, but if you pick that, that's fine. So I'll start with Paul. He seems like he has one in mind.
And this is hard for me because I'm not going to get the bonus points because it is Robin Hood.
Oh, really? Okay.
Princess Bride is my favorite. Robin Hood's my second. But unlike what Josh was saying, I don't like hearing that, Carrie Elwes in the IMDb is most known for his role in Saw, and I
really
watch that.
Is?
Yeah,
he was on. He was on Saw.
Yeah,
and I really wanted him to be a good guy in Stranger Things, but he is not that likable in the show.
Yeah,
so
he is in Stranger Things. Yeah, and he's not
plays
likable.
a mayor or something that. So, but anyway, I tried to pick a favorite non. Robin Hood movie, and I just can't because those just stand out so well for him in my head.
That's totally fair. How about you, Josh? Do you have one?
My favorite Carrie Elwes role outside of Princess Bride is actually not a movie.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. It is him playing Despero in Psych.
The
international jewel thief.
Oh, really? That's cool.
And he does it so well.
Is that a TV show?
Yeah,
it is
Psych.
a TV show.
Yeah, it's a TV
okay,
show.
Psych. Okay. Yeah. I thought at first it was a video game, but okay.
Oh. Psych. He's also been in an episode of Leverage. He was someone that I think they were trying to steal the spruce goose from or something, but regardless. So okay,
Francisco, can you get bonus points? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna brag, but yes, I do. Outside of Princess Bride, I actually really appreciate him as I guess you call him the villain in Days of Thunder. He's sort of the opposing driver to Tom Cruise's Cole Trickle.
Yeah.
And he kind of played the same kind of role in Twister, but I didn't think he was as good in Twister.
But I saw it listed there, but he wasn't as memorable. I mean, he was forgettable in this role to me until I saw him again. But yeah, the character wasn't as fun.
Yeah. And then, so in chat, we have a T512X says Houston. I don't know if there's a movie called Houston that Carrie always is from, or if that's from something else.
It's from the planet Houston.
Oh my gosh. Ashley says he's in an episode of Law and Order SVU as a lawyer for the mob. Oh, well, he likes him some villain roles, it would seem.
Yes, he does. He does the good guy so well, but then there's actors who like to play other things.
Yeah, that's fair.
Great trivia, Francisco.
Thank you,
I have
Paul.
the answer to our previous audience question, which again was, what animal do you want to see a superhero story about?
Oh, okay.
And so Bex from Redeemed Utaku wrote in, and this is usually Francisco's line. So I'll let him take care of that unless you want me to read it.
Sure, no, I'll go for it. She says, hey, fellas, I have an animal that would make a great superhero. The Australian Thailanky?
Okay, now she's just making up...
Thylacine. I think it's thylacine. It was the...
What does Johnny say? Let's have something about real animals.
oh, instead of the honey badger. No, a real animal, Bert. I think it's Australian thylacine. It was the world's largest marsupial until it went extinct in the 1930s. The last one died in captivity, or did it? There have been rumors of a few still living in the unexplored bush of Tasmania. Many have sought to find it. None have succeeded. It goes by many names, such as Tasmanian tiger, due to its stripes on its back, and Tasmanian wolf, given its canine characteristics. Pretty cool, huh? I agree, Bex. That is very cool. Thanks for all you do to make your show one of my favorites. Well, thank you so much for that, Bex. That is very kind of you. And because
now,
and you win a membership to our 4D fan club. So if you're ever here in stream, you'll get to use the cool on-screen commands and things like that. So thank you again for answering that trivia.
There's only 40 fans allowed, so you're one of them, and there's only 39.
Not 40, 4D, like fourth dimensional fans.
Oh, sorry. I have a problem thinking fourth dimension.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
All right, but anyway, let's get on to this episode's listener question. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Among the emergency response personnel in the airport scene of the movie Liar Liar, Jim Carrey can be seen dressed in his popular In Living Color character, Fire Marshal Bill. You can see him in the back at times, at timestamps 1 hour, 16 minutes, 54 seconds through 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 4 seconds. Let us know what is your favorite Jim Carrey role.
Ooh, good. And by the way,
more than two.
What? No way. By the way, really? I will say I went through those timestamps. Like I found it, and so you're welcome if you want to see it too. It's very obvious if you know who Fire Marshal Bill is. You know what to look for.
I don't.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's from In Living Color, which is like Saturday Night Live back in the day. He was a member of the cast there, and Fire Marshal Bill was a character he liked to reprise.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So send your answers to who your favorite Jim Carrey role is to trivia@retrorewindpodcast.com by the time we record the next episode, which gives you usually a week and a couple days. And now that we have all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our awesome rewinders, had about Liar Liar. Kevin Joshua Burnham says, I still never saw this movie, just bits and pieces. Why? Who knows?
Aaron Wallace says, I went and saw this in theaters, and we missed big chunks of dialogue because everyone in the theater was laughing so hard.
No. Celeste Morris says, the pen is royal blue.
It is, apparently. Ashley Kronbitter is the quotability. Hey, I think we mentioned that.
Indeed.
So many memorable ones that still make me chuckle simply by quoting it. Also, the blooper reel at the end credits. Yes, that was a bonus one.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, yes, that's a great one.
I did too.
It was so good. I wish more movies would do that. It's so fun.
Yeah. So Ashley goes on to say, there is one clip where Jim Carrey takes a piece of paper, crumbles it up, and then magically goes to which he says, a goose.
I will say, to me, the best part of that blooper reel was the other lawyer.
Oh,
looking
yeah.
him dead in the eye. Overactor.
Yeah, that was great. They're on to me. Let's see. Where are we? Steve Hamilton says, the pen is blue.
Dustin Warford says, this is probably the most quotable Jim Carrey movie ever, besides Dumb and Dumber.
Negative.
The pen is blue.
Negative.
The pen
Dumb
is
and
blue.
Dumber is not more quotable. I disagree. Just
Okay.
because I don't like the movie.
Right.
Anyway, Alex Ortiz says, the girl in the elevator, those eyes were beautiful. Heart eye emoji.
LJ Lowry says, they just let him run loose in this movie. One of my all-time favorites.
Matthew Cosby says, love this movie.
Jeff W. Eames left a gif of Mr. Allen laughing and wrote, beating himself up in the bathroom, bouncing around like a turkey in the courtroom, and convincing the judge for a bathroom break.
The Tip Touch podcast left a joy tears emoji. And also, Reed Benson says, I remember this was the first Jim Carrey movie to be more or less equally loved by critics and regular filmgoers. And I can see why. Ace Ventura and The Mask were mostly slapstick, which tends to please the masses and not the critics, while The Cable Guy was artsier with more of the social commentary that critics enjoy. Liar Liar combined both to just the right degree to please all sides, I think.
Joe Morgan says, Royal Blue.
Indeed. Well, none. There were like no negative comments. I mean, I guess Kevin's like, he's never really seen it, but he doesn't know why in the bunch. So, you know, so maybe there's nothing to dislike about this movie. Or
There's no
is
such thing as
there?
a perfect movie.
Except for Princess Bride, right, Paul? Yeah. Well, this Princess Bride, this is not. So let's spin up our
Worst 3.
the worst three things about this film. And I'm going to go ahead and start us off because honestly, I feel bad for Carrie Elways. Just that I felt like he was so led on by I forget what's her name, Audrey in this film, played by Maura Tierney. I just hated it so much. I love you. Thank you. I'm like, oh man, it's so heart crushing and just so sad. And he's such a nice, sweet guy. And you love Max? I love Max. It fits.
It's just hard to watch. It's not that it wasn't well written.
Yeah. It's hard to watch. That's all. It's there's nothing poor in terms of technical quality about any of that. It's just it pulls
that kind of goes into my technicality. And here you have his ex-wife Audrey, who's divorced with a kid, and now I know everybody's different, but most single parents that I know with a kid are very hesitant or reluctant to get into a relationship, especially with a kid that young because of fatherment attachments and stuff like that to the new person. So I find it kind of hard to believe that she's semi-serious about him. Like, is she or isn't she? I mean, I find it kind of interesting, like, especially after being with him 7 months. Like,
yeah, I feel like you don't introduce that's like when she would start to introduce him to her son, if anything. So
I found it kind of hard to believe that she's hesitant about marrying the dread pirate Magoo. Although him being that way, I could see why the hesitation. But would you be in a relationship that long?
Yeah,
I mean, he is cute, but
I don't know. Maybe he just said as you wish.
All around good guy.
Yes, he is. Yeah, totally.
Maybe he's just too bland for her.
Maybe.
But then why would you be with him? Like, anyway,
I don't know. I don't think we're privy to the psychology of her or him or anything like that. But I get where you're coming from, Paul. Josh, was it dislike you had surrounding Carrie Elways at all, or something else that you just didn't like?
No, I actually had to kind of stretch for some of my dislikes.
Oh, okay.
One is actually one that's more personal to me, and that's him like outright admitting he just doesn't want to speak to his mom.
Yeah.
As a person whose mom recently passed, that's
That's hard,
just something
though.
I can't connect with.
Of course.
Yeah. Like I said, there's different people, and it's hard to
There
believe
is.
some of
It's-
these. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are
Yeah,
people that
it's-
want nothing to do with their parents.
Well, especially when
But
they
yeah,
insist on
it's-
talking to me about dad's bowel movements, size, color, frequency. I'll call you later. But yeah, I totally see what you're
Right,
saying. Because
yeah, it's not like they had it didn't seem like they had a horrible relationship. Like he would
Right.
never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's totally fair, Josh. And as someone who's lost his mom, I totally can see that where you're coming from there. Let's go back to Paul. What's something else you disliked?
I find it really disingenuous towards the beginning of the film where the kid is laughing at everything his dad says. I mean,
Oh, yeah, that is that, huh?
all of a sudden Jim starts, acting like a rapper, and he sings, with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. And the kid starts laughing, and I'm like, why are you finding, why is a 6-year-old finding that funny? Or when he gets off the elevator and he says, 21st floor, men's underwear. I can get it if the kid has never met him and it's like, oh, this guy's funny because he makes funny voices,
Are you
But
my
as a-
dad?
Or if he was just a few years older and would actually get the joke.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
Right. But this is someone who's been around this guy who's always making funny voices. So this should be old hat. So I don't understand, why. I think they're trying to use it as an audience to say,
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
audience, this is funny. Well,
Exactly.
don't do that to me as an audience member, filmmakers.
Right? Let me determine what's funny. Jeez.
Yeah, and let it make sense.
Exactly. That kind of, well, I'll let Josh go next because was there anything about Jim Carrey's performance that didn't really land for you, Josh, or was something else sort of stand out as something you didn't like?
Something else that I didn't like was the language.
Oh, sure.
It's-
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
really,
the
it's
English
minor.
language was just butchered in.
Exactly, it was horrible. No,
I expect Shakespearean type English. Come on.
While especially compared by today's standards, I'll say that if this movie was made today, it probably would get like a high PG.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is
Rating.
kind of sad, but yes.
Or in the 80s.
Well, yes. Okay, Paul, before there's PG-13. Thanks for that.
No, I was thinking like Goonies, like right around that time.
Oh,
That's-
okay.
But
Oh,
yeah, I just
fair,
felt
fair.
like to me, it could have held up a bit better if they had left some of the language out, like especially
yeah,
the use
totally.
of GD, which
Yes.
that is one that bothers me
Of course, yeah.
more than others.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, it didn't make sense why he would call the pen a GD blue or a blue pen because is the pen really damned by God? and if not, then how can he say that? It doesn't make sense. It's a flaw within the writing.
The pen does not have a soul, therefore.
Right.
In a way, though,
illegal use of words.
in a way, though, he's damned because he's been cursed in a way. Isn't that the same type
But
of
the
thing?
pen is not, and he was calling the pen that, and he's
All
supposed to be
right.
speaking the truth.
So good point. Loop or plot hole. Come on now.
Yeah, it's
Technicality.
obvious error.
Exactly.
Technicality alert.
Exactly. Something that I didn't like, going back to Jim Carrey's performance as Fletcher, he was a lot less likable than I remember him being. I remember liking him more, that he was a more likable character.
I found it odd how his ex-wife was willing to put up and smile and laugh at him so much at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like here's someone
we
like
have
you're-
to know
you're-
he's funny though, Paul. Don't you know that?
That's true. That's why I was like, are you pandering to me? But I think that, spoiler alert, she winds up back with him at the very end of the film.
Yeah.
If she had hated him, or not hated him, but disliked him so much at the beginning, that would have felt more unbelievable. So I think it helps the story in that much. But yeah, what were you saying? Sorry.
I
totally hijacked what you were saying.
That's fine. All I had to say was that he wasn't likable. I don't know. I think a lot of it happened in the beginning, and maybe that's just because they are trying to force it down our throat that he's funny. When I don't know why, because he is funny. Just give him the playground. It'll just go with it. So, but a lot of what he was doing, a lot of the jokes or quips in the game were just seemed just off. They weren't. Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to make sure he was funny and likable, but that didn't come across. But once we get...
Oh, you didn't think he was funny in the beginning? It's kind of like you didn't think Jurassic Park was interesting in the beginning? It wasn't until you got till a certain point?
He was funny a bit. I don't know when it happened. I feel like the joke that started off the escalation of things being funny is the whole like, wow, that's a great image. Deleted when he sees.
Okay, that's towards the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, it's like, okay, now we're sort of off to the races, so to speak.
Yeah, because before then he was just making funny voices like, "We're gonna go wrestling with." You know,
a man must become a boy.
Yeah. Well, he says Macho Man. Macho Man.
Mandy Savage. Yeah, that's it.
Macho Man and Rick Rude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as much as I remember liking Fletcher more, and he was sort of unlikable, and the beginning wasn't really working, what's the thing that worked the least for you in this movie? What's your tragic maker for Liar Liar? Josh, take it away.
Okay. My tragic maker, and admittedly, again, this is kind of might be a stretch.
Sure.
But it's the reason that he missed Max's birthday party.
To have sex to become the partner? Sorry.
Yes, I wasn't going to say that because I
of the family-friendly tag, Paul?
Sorry, I didn't know that was a bad word.
I guess, actually, it's not really, because God made sex. Ask your parents.
True. He was trying, but yeah, I felt, I get, he had to miss the birthday party for the wish to come, for Max to make the wish.
Yeah.
You know, I just felt there could have been another reason.
That makes sense.
It's like, because to me, it doesn't make sense that the guy that does really love his son, and you know he truly loves his son and cares for his son, would do that over going to his son's party, which you know would make his son truly happy. It felt like it should have been the first case of where he really honestly couldn't.
Well, see, here's the thing. I would agree with you if it was only about sex, but he was trying to get in good with the partnership, and his career at that moment was the highest priority. I think that he had that above his son because he thought his son was going to be there forever. So he didn't have this like mindset of like, I actually am running out of time.
And then it sets up the joke I've had better, like right after. But I'm not saying it was worth it, but I understand what you were saying, Josh.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I think I would have loved if they would have come up with a different way to express that. I think that would have been way better. But it is what it is. And that makes you a tragic maker from it. Totally fine. What was that, Paul?
And they made $300 million from it. So I don't think they feel bad about it.
For me, my tragic maker was, and this is kind of silly, but this is sort of one of those. It just didn't make sense to me. Almost like they hinged too much of the movie at the end on this. So he goes in to the bathroom. He's trying to think of what he can do. And he starts kicking his butt. Do you mind? He just beats himself up. Why in the world, in a courtroom, in a what's it called? A courthouse, would this guy that comes in the bathroom not go report this to what was happening with this guy who is obviously mentally unstable from his perspective?
I thought
to
the same thing,
a cop or something.
He could have been just a visitor, and he was like on his way out, and he's like, "Well, this is not my problem." There's a lot of things that happen. I forget. There is a social condition or whatever. It's what people will see, horrible, tragic things, or even like racism take place, but they won't say or do anything about it because it upsets the
apple cart
other balance. Yeah. And I forget what it's called, but if you were to ask them individually, it's like, no, I thought that was horrible or wrong. That shouldn't have happened. Well, why didn't you say or do anything about it? They didn't have an answer. They were in shock or whatever. So.
Okay. I guess. I guess that makes sense. So
unfortunately, that happens in real life. But we're talking about movies, and you know what doesn't make sense to me?
What?
Thank you for asking, Francisco. My tragic maker is the ending itself, and I don't know if it's editing or I don't know if it's just plane over the top hijinks at the end when, okay, he's running to the airport and then there is no way he runs out into where all the planes are and he picks one. He sees that the plane that Max is on is not at the gate and there's all these planes out here and he goes, that's the one. That's the one Max was on. And how would he know which one of all the planes that are out there, which one Max is on?
Maybe because it's pulling out of the terminal that he was told it was at.
That would have been a great shot to have, but they didn't have that.
They should have shown that, but that is the best explanation I can come up with.
And then all of a sudden, this plane is going, and he's chasing after. First of all, I don't know if those stairs on wheels can go on that fast, but they were able.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. How is that going that fast, and how is he steering it? Like, how is it not going off kilter?
Yeah, and the plane, and they're going for a while. Like he's
how long is that runway?
Exactly. I've been on runways, and there's a, like, when you're waiting to take off, there's a lot of stops and starts, and it's not that long. Like, you keep going and keep going. You'd either, if you're gonna go that long, you're gonna take off or you're gonna stop and turn. And that whole, like I said, that whole scene just felt off. Now, I know this is a fantasy movie where, wishes come true. But even in the world that they built, that seemed like, come on, guys, what's going on here?
All right. That's fair. We have in chat, T512 says, Tragic Maker, Alive falls into the truth window. Fletcher lies to his secretary when he says he would have got the burglar 20K. I think it's 10K. I would have got him 10.
It is 10K.
The secretary gets super mad and he says, wait, I didn't understand the question. So I'm not sure which part of that makes it your Tragic Maker. Just that, like, is that not really a truth or is that a lie? But that's fair.
Because I
think he did understand the question, meaning.
I don't think he did.
All right, it's possible. Yeah.
And I think that
because I thought he was answering literally. And she was trying to find out, is there justice in that?
Yes.
And according to his mental capacity, justice is getting, filling the check boxes on his side, and maybe that's not true. Yeah. So he's like, oh, wait, maybe I didn't understand the question. That's how I took it. Of course, I'm trying to try to give the writers the benefit of the doubt, but I understand why. That's a question.
But when it comes to runways, no more benefit of the doubt.
Forget it. Like, this isn't Fast and the Furious with the longest runways ever. Come on.
My ability to follow your movie is take it off. Okay.
Yeah.
Because of the plane. All right, guys. Well,
take off.
Now that we've entered all our trajectories into the firing computer, Alice, do you have a firing solution for us?
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready. On your mark.
And before we get to final rating, D. Tungsten in chat, and he had put this in Facebook. I forgot to add it, but he has a fun anecdote that's related to that airport scene. He says, when I saw the movie in theater, Liar Liar, there's a part at the airport where some luggage gets smashed into, and I yelled out, so that's what happens when they lose your luggage at the airport, and it got a big laugh. So that's fun. I'm glad. That's always cool when you can, like, riff track in a theater and you get a laugh. That's like one of the best feelings.
Oh, I hate it when it's not funny.
Oh, well, yeah, but when it is, it's great.
It's not worth it. Just be quiet.
Oh, gosh. How'd you really feel,
Sorry,
Paul?
D. Tungsten. That's my anecdote.
Wow. Don't go to the movies with Paul, apparently. Even though I remember enjoying going to the movies with Paul. Regardless, this movie, what is our final rating of it? Do we rate it a classic? We'd recommend anyone go out and see it, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic, it's worth your time rewatching if you enjoyed it as a kid or young adult. But if you've never seen it before, probably just pass on it. Or a tragic. It's not worth anyone's time. If you've never seen it before, keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully your good memories of it with a rewatch. So let's start with our guest, Josh. What's your final rating for Liar Liar? And don't lie to me about it.
My final rating for Liar Liar is that it is indeed a classic.
Classic, just like your prediction.
It's just like my prediction. This is hands down my favorite Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think it is some of his. Wow. I think it's some of his best work.
Yeah.
Both in the realms of the physical comedy, as I was saying during my likes, and in the way he delivers the lines and all that. Everything is just done with this perfect comedic timing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So you like this more than the Truman Show?
Oh yeah.
You like this more than Man on the Moon?
Hold on.
I'm kidding.
I have never seen the Truman Show.
That's
So yeah, he's got to like it more if he's never seen it.
Toy.
But I'll tell you what.
Bear.
I've seen the Truman Show, and I agree with you, Josh. This is Jim's best performance, in my opinion, as well. I agree with everything you said. It's why it's a classic for me.
What? Oh my gosh! Just like your prediction.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Where's your like combativeness? Why are you just rolling over, giving this a classic?
Hey, you told me to tell the truth.
That's true.
And I was trying to remember the Tina Turner line, like rolling down the river.
She's been on Thunderdome. That's where. I can't remember it, but regardless of whether I can remember that Tina Turner line or not, there's no such thing as a weaker sex because this is a classic. That made no sense, but connect the dots. I'm sure you can figure out something. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this movie. This may also be my favorite Jim Carrey, at least his favorite comedic movie. We have Dapper Man in chat says The Truman Show is his favorite Jim Carrey film, but that's more of a drama, a drama than a comedy. Ashley also says definitely a classic, Jim Carrey's finest. So lots of people preferring this. D Tungsten Mask is your favorite. Well, no one asked you, D Tungsten. Just kidding. But yeah, according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate Liar Liar a unanimous. It's been a while. A unanimous classic film. We'd recommend anyone go out and see this film, whether or not you've seen it before. Now it's time to get back to our own time. Good old 20XX.
20XX.
Comsat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Ooh, it feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to travel back to 1997 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely Jared Holzhauer, Deborah Powers, Brian Keating, Patrick Hicks, LJ Lowry, Chris Cowan, the Feel and Film Podcast, Chris Owens, Geek Devotions, The Untold Podcast, Mrs. Lomax, James Kinnison, Drew of the Cellcast, Ashley Cronenbitter, Pastor Dewson, Kennethan, Redeemed Utaku, Ryan Lingle, That's Our Babo, Josh Adams, whoa, you're right here, D. Tungsten, and Andy Lewis, in addition to 5 other patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help keep us flying for as little as $1 a month and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support to help us grow via Patreon, Subscribestar, or PayPal.
Hey Francisco, you remember the cartoon Cops? I know you talked about that. But do you remember the outro where he goes through the roll call?
No.
And he goes through all the names at the end, like the credits. He goes roll call, and he goes through all the cops' names and then all the crooks' names. But he goes in the different voice inflection, and the way you go through the patrons reminds me of that.
Oh, really? So, oh, my gosh. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I'll have to check that out. Very cool.
Yeah. And you too, listeners.
I didn't even know there was a cartoon of cops.
Oh, yeah.
C period, O period.
See, the show was so popular, they made a cartoon of it.
It's different. Completely
it's not Bad Boys, what you gonna do when they come for you.
Oh, my word.
Oh, wait. This just in.
This stream is sponsored by PaulJPowers.com.
And while we're thanking our supporters, we also want to give a big a truthful hug to Josh for supporting his thoughts about Liar Liar tonight. Josh, where can people find you online? Is there anything cool you'd like to share with us that you're doing?
Well, I barely stay on social. I barely check my social medias, honestly, but if you want to find me, I am RKO Stunner 619 on pretty much everything.
Awesome. Okay. What's that a reference to for that people don't know? I mean, I know because you told me, but I didn't know before you told me.
RKO Stunner 619 are 3 of my favorite wrestling finishing moves.
Oh, really?
The RKO, the Stunner, and the 619.
Oh, I thought those were wrestlers, so I was still confused.
Wait, I have a question. Is wrestling fake?
It is scripted.
Yeah,
Not fake.
the ones
No,
on
no.
TV.
In the Olympics,
And-
wait, no,
Olympics-
you
yeah,
asked the wrong question,
Olympics
Paul.
is-
Sorry.
Is wrestling real? In the Olympics, yes.
Yes.
On Channel 23, no.
Okay,
All right.
there we go. But it is scripted. But they really do hit each other. And when I heard that wrestling was fake, I'm like, that looks like they're like really like hitting them, and they are. So there's nothing fake about being hit. Anyway,
as for what I do, it's the main thing I do these days. I'm a part of an online wrestling league called CWC.
Mm-hmm.
You can find it on the YouTube channel Alex Hollenbeck. HOLLENBECK.
Awesome. So what do you do? What is that about? Like,
they virtually wrestle each other online.
Is
Yeah,
that
we
what that
have-
is?
We have people, we've all made our own wrestlers on the game WWE 2K20,
Okay.
and they some people play it competitively for their matches, person against person.
Mhm.
But for some of us, we have the CPU or computer simulate the matches,
Oh, cool.
and our leader Alex posts those on his YouTube channel.
Oh, fun. Well, very, very cool. Awesome. I learn something new every day. Very cool. Thank you again, Josh. And a hearty thanks to those of you listening for the first time. And of course, all of you who are part of the Rad Rewinder community, you all who watch us live every week, whether we are recording this podcast or I'm playing retro games, you are an amazing group of people helping sustain the pod. But if you're looking for ways to get involved growing this Retro Rewind endeavor, reach out to us on social media where we are at Retro Rewind Pod pretty much everywhere. You could buy some of our merch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser, become a monthly patron, or simply just share your favorite episode of the podcast with a friend so that more people can enjoy the content of the Retro Rewind Pod.
Hey, Francisco, when we have guests that are on like more than twice, like 3 or more, they become shipment,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Do we have any people in the role of pilots?
I guess not. I guess, because, captains don't usually pilot the ships, huh? They usually, we
No.
need to. Yeah, so I guess we've been on autopilot this whole time.
Well, there was one time where Jim Carrey actually wanted to be a pilot of the Retro
really?
Rewind Pod. Yeah, and we let him do a test run, and it didn't turn out so well. So we got Jim Carrey on here. Hey, Jim, can you tell us why you're not a pilot for the Retro Rewind Pod?
Here goes. I sped. I followed too closely. I ran a stop sign. I almost hit a Chevy. I sped some more. I failed to yield at a crosswalk. I changed lanes in the intersection. I changed lanes without signaling while running a red light and speeding.
Thanks, Jim.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, he
Yeah.
just totally failed that test. Okay.
So, yeah, we're still looking for pilots.
You're still looking for pilots.
Anyway, you've been listening to the Retro Rewind Podcast.com/221, our review of Liar Liar with me as your XO, PaulJPowers.com. You can find me online and all my social medias. Links at PaulJPowers.com.
Thank you, Paul, for being an amazing friend. This is no lie. You're an amazing friend. And it's awesome having another fun voyage of the pod with you. I have been and continue to be your captain of the pod, Francisco Ruiz. Find me on Twitter at FXRetro_, especially if you need pixel artwork commissioned.
And we've been commissioned to announce we are part of the Christian Geek Central network at ChristianGeekCentral.com. Captain, we are on final approach to base. Salvo at the ready has been granted.
Yes, thank you, XO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful now than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for King Kong versus Godzilla, our next episode of the Retro Rewind Podcast.
That one's next.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
Wow. That was a nice podcast. Deleted. Just like my email. Check out my email. Deleted.